What's up guys, this is Astranox. It's time for the showcase of Edward Elric from the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood collaboration. He has 15 skill ups. I try him in different team compositions and this is definitely a strong hero. It's going to be right after this. This video is brought to you by Amazon Appstore and Amazon Coins. If you're going to spend for Edward Elric, you should do so by using Amazon Coins. You can save up to 20% on in-game purchases from games who are on the Amazon App Store. The great news is that Epic 7 is now available on it, and you can start using Amazon Coins to straight up get more out of what you're usually spending or end up with more spare cash instead. It's a win-win scenario. It's very easy to get the best savings on the Amazon App Store and Epic 7. Just go down below and use my link and follow the instructions. If you use my link below, it helps me but also allows you to still get the best possible discounts. You can get up to 20% off, which is really awesome. Get a full 20% discount if you buy 50k coins. If you buy 10,000 Amazon coins for $82, they will give you $100 in the game and so on with a bunch of discounts for different budgets. It's really easy to start saving. There's just 3 steps. 1. Get your Amazon coins. 2. Get Epic 7 from the Amazon App Store on your favorite device, Android phone or tablet, or even better, get Amazon App Store now on Windows 11 and play Epic 7 directly from your PC easily with no complications. Currently available for the US and then globally. That's awesome. Once you've done that, just log into Epic 7 through the Amazon App Store. Just as easy as that. Why pay the full amount when you can get up to a nice 20% discount? There's really no reason not to use this method when it comes down to spending money in Epic 7. Check out my link in the description or comments section down below. Get Amazon App Store, get some Amazon coins, and start saving now. Here we go, Edward Elric at SSS, 15 skill ups, and I really like the crit chance imprint. His limited artifact gives him crit chance as well, so that is a ton of it. Almost 27%, that much easier to gear this hero out. Of course, he is scaling his damage based on his maximum health, boosting his survivability as well, and he hits hard, guys. You will see the numbers. Penetration set on speed. Speed works hand in hand with his limited artifact. 117 base speed on him, so definitely a good use of the speed set. I really like his skill number 2. You know, if he gets damage and he has a debuff, he will be attacking their whole team. And all of these attacks, skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, scaling off of his maximum health, it definitely helps to put pressure on the enemy. And this is a hero that I'm not really in trouble to keep alive, so I really like it. This is definitely a hero that you can fit in a playstyle for turn 2 team, you know, bruiser hero, and you can make stuff happen. The debuffs that he can land with the skill number 2 when he attacks the whole enemy team when he has a debuff and he takes damage is it's good. Like, these debuffs are definitely good. And the thing is, you need to be fighting a team that will actually be landing debuff on him. You don't want immunity unless you are struggling with cleansing. Maybe you want it early on. Penetration set will give you just more value throughout a long battle, especially with the skill number 3, you know, building more and more damage. There's a damage multiplier based on how many times you use skill 3. Soul burn for 10 souls, reducing the cooldown from 4 turn to 2 turn. So you might want to actually save your souls and actually maybe not even open up with skill number 3 at the start of the battle. If you don't have like a Skills Ancient book, you don't have 20 souls at the start of the battle, what you can do is just delay the skill number 3. So you can just keep on going with those sweet soul burn skill number 3 back to back, and that will definitely be very dangerous, stacking up the damage. And especially if he's the sole damage dealer in your team and you're supporting him, you definitely want to do that because more damage, it's going to secure the kill with the frenzy and RTA with his artifact as well, getting him to have more crit damage and more speed. So he's getting speed there. He has 117 base speed, speed set, and the fact that his skill number 2, you know, the counter attack that he attacks the whole enemy team, it can only trigger once per turn. So having more speed on him will definitely help you out, so you can actually use those skill 2s more often. He can only remove 1 debuff from himself when he has skill number 2. This is not a hero that is as strong as Champion Zerato when it comes down to like dealing with heavy debuff team. But I mean, it could be really cool to have Edward Elric with champion Zerato versus a heavy debuffing team. That could be a dangerous counter against them. And yeah, you can definitely mess them up real good. So I like that. I like to use him definitely versus a team that has, heroes that land debuff, but also heroes that deal damage and land debuff all in one skill, because it will trigger his skill 2 straight off the bat. Now, the thing is, if you're fighting like teams with Conqueror Lilius, Angel of Light, Angelica, these heroes are not dealing damage, so you gotta wait. There's a delay. You need to have, you need to get hit by one of their hero that deals damage afterwards. So it really takes too long, and I don't like it. So, like, I mean, I use him even versus Rem, because Rem, she counters, attacks your whole team, right? And then she deals damage and puts unhealable. And that allows him to just counterattack. And I really like that the passive, the skill number 2, actually can get triggered from an enemy triggering a counterattack, an Elbrus Ritual Sword, triggering like their skill 2, whatever, on an extra attack. And that's definitely very nice. And the burst damage potential between the skill 3, especially on the penetration set, and the skill 2 triggering, dealing damage versus the whole team, plus a quick follow into the skill number 1, because he has 50% combat shrewdness after he uses the skill number 3. Soul burn it, and it's only a 2-turn cooldown. Well, basically it's a 1.5 turn cooldown because you're already halfway there. So I like it. Like, this is definitely a hero that can put pressure against the enemy. He's fire, gotta be careful versus a heavy ice team, but even using him versus like one ice hero, that's gonna be fine because he's very, very tanky. He's a bruiser. You pump that health up on him and he's able to survive better, but of course deal more damage, right? So I like that I don't have to have an attack buff for him. Even if a hero scales based on maximum health, their damage, they do scale a bit based on their attack. And to be honest, like, it's not important to like worry so much about that, because it's a fraction of how much scaling you're getting compared to how much you're getting out of health, maximum health on him. Because 2 bird 1 stone with stacking health on a type of hero like this, because you're boosting your damage, you're boosting your survivability. It's definitely great. And he can definitely be fit in different teams. That's good. Itemization wise, yeah, crit chance on the imprint, crit chance on, the artifact definitely relieves pressure, and it's easier to gear him out. And you can see that I really like it when, look at these counters that are happening. His S2 triggering right after, like, S2 of Rem triggering. So that's definitely solid. And the more speed you have, the more often he's going to be able to do that, right? So it's important to have a nice amount of speed on him. If you have him real slow on counter set, yes, you're going to be getting some barrier throughout the battle. That's something, but then you're not going to be able to really use his full potential of him putting pressure with the skill number 2 quite constantly. Of course, if the enemy has debuffs, if they're able to land debuff on him, right? That's the thing. You don't want a hero in your team that puts immunity buff. You don't want to have effect resistance stat on him, as little as possible, right? It's like a champion Zerato. You kind of want him to get debuffed. Now, if the enemy team is very heavy in terms of debuffs, the problem is that his passive can only remove 1 debuff from himself. So you might get crippled way too hard, and if like a defense break stays there or whatever cripples his damage output, having a decreased hit chance debuff could be quite devastating if you have to follow up with the skill 3 or just straight up delay the skill 3 because you don't want to take the gamble there. The barrier on skill 1 is not that strong, but the good news is that it scales based on his maximum health, so it adds up. I mean, it's a bit of survivability increase, I would say. Yes, having counter set would have him potentially use skill 1 more often and get barrier more often, but that's a chance. That's the thing, right? I feel like he's way more impactful if he has the speed. He's just gonna be in their face, and that's what you want. You want him to apply pressure, especially as a bruiser. Bruiser heroes don't always have the biggest of pressure against the enemy team, but if you have the speed, a bruiser, when you have a bruiser on like counter and Elbrus, a knight, that's pretty deadly. If you don't even have to be that lucky right? You got multiple chances for you to trigger a counter attack. But in his case, he's not a knight. He doesn't have the Elbrus at his disposal. Now, his own artifact allows him to have more crit damage, which can go above 350%. And that's a good thing. And it really pushes his damage. Now, if you're missing your attack, it's really a kick in the balls because, I mean, there's a big damage multiplier missing. The crit damage multiplier, especially if you have the artifact that's stacked up 4 times, it really adds up. And you definitely want to get the crit damage to happen. So yeah, be careful at that. And if he cannot remove like a decreased hit chance debuff, well, I mean, sometimes you gotta gamble, right? You're just gonna gamble, and you can see here very little damage that I was able to do versus Rem, because she's ice, he's fire, so 50% chance of missing her straight off the bat. Add the decreased hit chance debuff, you have 100% chance of missing her. Unless you have some hit chance to counter that, it's gonna be a miss, right? So, as you can see, I've been bringing him in there versus Rem just because it's an easy way to trigger his passive. Unless you are straight up attacking her non-stop and you're not attacking anyone else on her team, then you're not going to be able to trigger her passive that attacks your whole team, which means it's not going to trigger Edward Elric's skill number 2. But it's a gamble. It's a dangerous play to bring him versus a Rem. It's just that versus arena defense, she's one of the hero that's like showing up a lot, right? But like Arbiter Vildred, if he comes back to life, he uses skill 3, he dies, he uses skill 3 again, decrease hit chance, deals damage, right? Like, it's going to trigger him. So that is definitely good when that happens. And the damage is not insane, but it's substantial over the course of a battle, right? Now, this hero is definitely for the long haul. This is a hero that you want to bring in battles that are going to last a few turns, quite a few turns actually, because you want the artifact to stack up, you want the S3 to stack up, and like I said, you want to delay the skill number 3, potentially so you can soul burn it constantly afterward, right? Building the initial 10 soul, it might take a little time. If there's Billion against you, that's going to be sort of like a counter against him too, especially if he's your soul damage dealer. Maybe they don't have sustain, you can pull it off over time. But yeah, it might be rough to use this hero, to position this hero when you're facing a team that doesn't have any debuff, or if you somehow have a hero that puts immunity on your team, it's gonna mess you up. So be careful about that, guys. If you have Rimuru on your team, taking the immunity buff from the enemy, like there's a lot of ways that it can go wrong. Maybe you just keep resisting debuffs because the enemy get 15%. So yeah, you want to have a debuff on him. If he doesn't trigger the S2, he's not gonna perform well. And I wouldn't say he's OP, but he's a pretty good hero, a counter hero that is strong. Anyways, let us know what you guys think about all that in the comment section. That's it for this one. I'm Astranox. Good luck with all ya do. Peace out for now.